It is the witching hour, guys. If you guys don't know what that is, at 3 in the morning. Been going through quite a bit of bouts of insomnia lately for some reason. Could just be the constant LinkedIn plugged into the computer trying to find jobs, just I've been on LinkedIn a lot, looking at it way too much, and adding skills, updating the resume, things of this nature. I've talked about this in the past. By the way, my name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel. If you guys are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. It'd be much appreciated. But this video is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. It's literally a question I've had my entire life. And that specifically is, what is depression? What does that mean? Historically, what does it mean in the modern world, right? You could go back to psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung. I don't know where the term chemical imbalance came from, but a lot of modernity seems to think of depression in that way, which it very well could be a chemical imbalance caused by various factors, but I don't think it's just you're depressed because you have a chemical imbalance that you're born with, something like that. It's probably to do with other factors, we'll say, to be a little bit YouTube friendly, right? Dietary factors, medicinal factors that may or may not happen when you're very young, things of this sort. But further than that, and really the thesis of why I've been thinking about making this video for so long, is that I've been going through a bout of depression for really since like 2020, but every year it's been getting worse because nothing's improving. So there's like terms like situational depression. I could be going through that. Midlife crisis, that's another thing they talk about with depression. I am now squarely in middle age. I turned 37 this year, so. But I don't think it's any of that particularly for me. What it is for me right now is that it just feels like there's no reason to want to push forward, right? And I think especially for men, this is what could cause depression, is like a sense of hopelessness. And it's not, like I've said in the past, it's not a suicidal feeling. It's more of a, like, what is the point of my existence type feeling, which this is why in the last year and a half I've been getting a lot more into orthodoxy. Sorry, I'm wearing this today. It's kind of cold. It's been raining the past couple days. But yeah, that's been one of the reasons why I've been trying to find Christ and getting into orthodoxy. As you guys know, I was raised LDS, but the community aspect was there, but the religious aspect just never grappled onto me. Precisely for what I'm kind of talking about in this video is none of the gurus or the new ageisms or the experts have thus been able to provide a logical answer to the state of modernity. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. I've asked a lot of people. Even if they don't know what's going on, they know, they kind of like feel what's going on in modernity. So everybody's like depressed, but they suppress it, right? Fake it till you make it kind of crap. That's new age garbage advice, by the way. I mean, obviously you have to fake it if you work like a 9 to 5, but in your real life, you should try to be as authentic as possible, especially with the people that you love or care about. One of the reasons why I'm making videos daily on this channel now is so that I can do that for you guys. If this helps you guys, you know, do it for myself as well as a form of therapy, because I'm also not big into therapy that goes into the psychoanalysis. Really all therapy did, like ever since I've started getting into Christianity, I've learned that all therapy has done is replaced confession, essentially. Before modernity, you could say, there was no need for these kinds of things because you had community, you had family, you had a shared struggle. And that sounds a little bit Marxist to say it that way, but you had there was more than just yourself, right? This is the ultimate lie of the propositional nature of the American system and the libertarian mindset that we kind of live in on the quote-unquote right, which I've argued that there is no true right wing anymore. Really anywhere. I can't think of a single... A lot of people point to Islam, but Islam is just kind of... They're just authoritarian. That's not right wing. I'm talking about right wing in a biblical sense, which would be the hierarchy, right? The monarchy, you would say, which is God, man, woman, child. It's not oppressive. It's the natural state of things. That's really what right wing means. It means that you're in the state of nature as opposed to the state of facsimile or the state of unnature or whatever you want to call it, right? Which is what we're in right now. Which, to tie back into depression and my real theory about this, and it's not really my own, I'm not like being original here. I listened to Stefan Molyneux talk about mental illness several years ago, and he kind of has the same conclusion that mental illness, depression, ADHD, I was diagnosed with that when I was a kid, right? I was put on Ritalin. All of these things, if they do exist, because a lot of them I feel like they just exist to sell drugs. That's just like the straight up fact, right? But we've already seen this in modernity now. I don't even think it's debatable now. We know pharmaceutical companies have interests in putting you on various drugs for various ailments, especially mental ailments, right? But I think what it is, and I wanted to explain this in the right way, which is in my Christian understanding, is that we have this thing called the divine mind, which is the Word, right? That is, Christ was Word in the flesh, but the Father is essentially truth. The Spirit is what we use to access that truth. It's what inspires us. It's why I make this video, right? It's because it kind of senses, it lets you sense when something is not in alignment. And so that is what I think depression is. I think depression is just trauma. Trauma, gaslighting, that's a big one in society nowadays. It's become somewhat of a cliche term, gaslighting. But it very much is a real thing, and it's essentially just someone trying to tell you how you feel. Which again gets into depression. Like, oh, you're depressed because you're not doing this. You're depressed because just work harder, bro. Just go to the gym, bro. I've even talked about women on this channel, but the woman thing hasn't even really been an issue in my own life because I found ways to deal with that problem, as I've discussed. I'm not saying that it's recommended, but there are ways that a modern man can deal with this issue without resorting to prostitution or hiring a hooker or whatever. Even though it would be nice if women were not this way, and and maybe that's part of it, right? Maybe that's just the burden of this age, is that the women are this way, and it's going to sound very boomer to say, but men have to just man up. Maybe that's what it is. It's very possible, right? Because men do need to man up no matter what age you live in. I mean, that's what drives society. Like I said, the hierarchy is God, man, woman, child. But I'm digressing again. By the way, we're at 10 minutes, so yeah, if you guys are still listening, I appreciate it. I've been talking a little bit quieter in this one. I'll probably have to mess with the audio, but my name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel. I keep saying that because it's this channel was formerly one thing, now it's becoming something else, so I just like the branding too much. I kept thinking about making a new channel, and who knows, if I do this for 6 months and I don't get good numbers, don't get any viewers. I mean, it's slowly going up, but I'm averaging very low views right now, but that's expected when you stop making videos for several years. I think my channel too is at this like weird, algorithmically, it's at this weird impasse where, because I was looking through my back catalog the other day, and I've got over 600 Eagles videos. It's insane. So a lot of those are probably conflicting with the algorithm, but I just have to make 600 more of these kind of videos. That's my logic. So that's what I'm going to keep doing, and then like I said, in 6 months, if it doesn't grow at all, maybe I'll consider doing a new channel, starting fresh. Wish I had better equipment too when that comes to fruition as well, but I'm digressing. That's kind of what I think about it, guys. That's what I think it is. I think you have to look at it holistically. That's one thing that Orthodox Christianity has been teaching me, is that you have to look at things holistically. You can't just look at things from like one perspective. You have to take every perspective and look at it for what it is, and then try to discern the truth through that. And with this depression thing, it's very complicated. That's why drugs are not working right now. You have all these women that bought into feminism on psychiatric medication right now. I myself, I have a Xanax prescription, so I'm like, I take it sparingly, but everybody kind of has their way of coping now, and a lot of that is through psychotropic drugs, benzos, whatever you have. You got trazodone. You've got a lot of different options, you could say, these days. Weed. I think weed is one of the libertarians brag about that constantly, about what a great victory that was, but just look at the state of Colorado and you'll see what weed does to a society. That's a really beautiful state, right next to my state of Utah, and completely ruined. And yeah, I'd blame it on weed. Being high all the time leads to liberalism. It leads to, you're just dumb. It literally makes you dumb. I've known people that have, I call it smoking yourself retarded. Like, they literally do that. I don't know if you're losing brain cells or what, but if you smoke too much weed, you're going to become retarded. It's just a fact. So, yeah, so like, what causes depression? Well, for me, I'll just tell you, it's modernity. That's what causes my depression. It's this world that I'm existing in. There's a lot of distractions nowadays, right? But there's nothing meaningful. It's all just a facsimile. Like, you talk to AI because you can't talk to normal people, right? Like, you work remote because the pandemic was telling you couldn't talk to people. It's just like they're putting barriers in front of literally everything. When you go to the supermarket, you have to use the self-checkout now. You can't go and just talk to somebody. So yeah, that's what's causing depression. And then also, there is no God anymore. There's no recognition of God. It's coming back, which is very hopeful. I'm seeing that Christianity specifically is coming back in a big way. But you have all the other ones too, like Islam they're establishing centers in Florida, Texas. Islam's taking a foothold now. We still, of course, have the problem of Zionism over there as well. So, and then the most disgusting religion of all in our age is the woke, which was created out of the absence of religion, right? It was just created out of the vacuum, which makes it some kind of Lovecraftian horrifying entity when you really think about what it is. So yeah, we are very much in a religious age again, but yeah, what causes depression? That's what it is. No meaning, no direction, right? We're not individuals. That's a myth. No one is meant to be an individual. No one's meant to just go out on their own, right? I'm definitely an introvert. I prefer to be alone. I like being alone, but I can't do it forever. I can go like a week. This is why I go to the gym, really. I go to the gym more for the social aspect, if I'm being completely honest. I've lost weight, I've gotten in shape. I'm probably in the best shape of my life. Maybe not. Maybe like 3 years ago when I was on keto, I was really doing good. But I'm still not fat. I haven't really gained any of the weight back. I've kind of plateaued. I've stayed at that like 190, 195. I'm 6 foot, so it's not perfect. I'm a little bit pudgy, but it is what it is. I used to be. Maybe I'll make a video about that sometime. But I used to be a pretty heavy boy. I was pushing 280 at one point. This was like early 20s, college time. And by the way, actually, it's relevant. That was caused by me taking ADHD medication. I took a whole bunch, but I remember Ritalin, and it suppresses your appetite. Some of these drugs, I can't remember all of them, but there were like 2 years. I remember this when I was in junior high, where I was on this drug that just made me not want to eat. I would eat one piece of pizza every day. I remember that. I would just eat a piece of pizza at lunch, go wait in the lunch line and get your piece of, I think they called it $5 pizza. That was like a company. I don't know if that's like a Utah thing or what, but I used to just get it. It was like a pretty decent slice, but I would just eat that at lunch, and then I never ate breakfast. This is probably why fasting is pretty easy for me. Like when I started keto, it wasn't that hard. I've always been used to living this way. But what happened is I did have that period in my life, is after those 2 years of me like literally eating like one meal a day, and it was just pizza. It was like I probably ate just pizza once a day for almost 2 years. And I remember the summer, it was my 16th birthday, getting off of the drug. And my dad did a paper route at the time, so I used to go with him because it was fun. I got to hang out with my dad and kind of talk to him, listen to the radio. This was back when talk radio was a thing. There was no podcasts like this. You had to tune in and yeah, I just remember I got off the drug and my appetite came back. So we used to go to like Del Taco and McDonald's. Like I just started eating like absolute crap. And this was actually too, this was when I was turning 17, and that was the first job. Like I had jobs like chore type jobs, but this was like the first like W-2 job I ever had was McDonald's when I was 17. And yeah, I remember I just blew up because, and I read later that those drugs lower your metabolism, because I used to have a really high metabolism. My brother still has this. My brother doesn't get fat. He eats He does not eat healthy, we'll just put it that way. I don't think he eats completely bad all the time, but he doesn't eat really that healthy either. But I read the drug lowers your metabolism. I think it permanently ruined my metabolism. So, yeah, this is not as much to do with depression, but it just shows you what these drugs do. And so, yeah, I gained, I remember the summer, I gained like 40 pounds in like 6 months. And I went back to school that year. I remember getting made fun of. You know, everyone's like, oh, you got so fat. They just said it back then, right? It's different times. But, yeah, it was true. I did get fat. And I was fat until I was about 26, 27. So then I started thinking about, okay, I got to lose some weight, you know? Never had a drinking problem, nothing like that. I just really liked food for like almost 10 years. I just would just eat a lot. You know, this chips is one of my biggest weaknesses. I try not to buy chips because if I have them around, I'll eat them, and without thinking, I can eat like an entire bag of like Costco-sized chips without thinking. Soda, that was another big one. I've replaced that with seltzer water, things like this. But yeah, no, I'm giving you like my whole diet now. The point I was trying to make is that it was the drug. That was why my appetite was suppressed for 2 years and my metabolism went really low, and I just started pigging out, and my body was, I think my body freaked out. It was like, oh my gosh, you're eating more than pizza. Let's store all of this. And I just got fat. So yeah, and I've never been super depressed either, because I've always kind of had awareness about this. Because of the people in my life, like they say this is more of a boomer mindset, but they'll say things like I'm depressed, but then I look at their lives. It's like, well, you're doing nothing. You're like me right now. The past couple months, because I haven't had any work, you know, I've just been sitting in my room and making videos and reading books and playing video games and watching movies and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm getting depressed because that's all I'm doing. I'm not, you know, I can't really afford to do anything right now. That's the problem. So I'm just kind of moping around and trying to fix that, obviously, but we're just in a really stupid period of time, right, where I don't know how long this is going to take. I've been thinking about that the other day. Like, the last recession started in 2007, and we didn't see relief till about 2014. So that was almost like, what is that? It's like 7 years. So we're at year 5 of COVID. So yeah, this might not be fixed anytime soon. So I just have to deal with that. And yeah, that's kind of the video. We're at 23 minutes again. If you guys have watched all the way here, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys sticking with me on these videos. And please consider subscribing and liking the video. Comment down below and all that jazz. But that's kind of the video. Depression. It's I don't think it's a real thing, personally. I think what depression really is it's just that you get sad and you get, it's like an immune system. Your body, I guess we'd say this, it's real in this sense. It's your body reacting to an abnormal metaphysical situation that you're in. It's like a pain response. It's trying to tell you that something's off. But most people don't have the introspection to look in themselves and figure out what that is. And a lot of people also don't know how to be autodidacts, which essentially means self-taught. So like, they'll go to therapy and they'll trust the expert, but they won't go out and like look at. It's like when I go to doctors sometimes, like I know more about the drugs than they do, just because I read about them. Like, doctors are trained. Therapists are trained. You have to go beyond that. You have to know thyself. I think it was Aristotle that said that. Know thyself. That's the key to depression. Know thyself. Understand what you want out of life. I don't know. And just try to get into the balance, right? Like, stop lying to yourself as well. Like, this is again why the woke people are just so insane, is because their entire ideology, their entire existence is a lie. Deep down they know it too, and that's why they're crazy. That's why they have mental illness. So there it is, guys. There it is. Anyway, I'm going to cut the video here and maybe try to get some sleep. Just was tossing and turning. It's really cold in here right now, and I couldn't get comfortable, but talking, making this video kind of helped. So appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later, guys.